Hey y'all, and welcome back to Rebelle with a Cause, Call to the Case. I'm Kitty, and I wanted to let everyone know that I'll have submission forms up soon. I'll be accepting your death experiences, in addition to true crime and missing persons cases. Please keep in mind that although my channel is faith-based, the victim's personal beliefs do not matter. Everyone deserves justice. Now let's get into today's case. Today we are diving deep into one of the most heartbreaking and frustrating cases of a missing child I've come across lately. A little girl named Oakley Carlson vanished sometime in 2021 but wasn't reported missing until months later. This case has rocked a small community in Washington state and left so many people asking the same question. How could this happen, and where is Oakley? Before we begin, a reminder: this show brings light into dark places. It is faith-fueled, justice-driven, and spirit-led, and we honor the victims by telling their stories truthfully, personally, and with deep compassion. This episode does include discussion of child abuse, neglect, and system failures. Listener discretion is advised. Let's begin with who Oakley was, because she was more than a case. She was a child with a bright smile and a giggle that filled a room, and her life deserves so much more. Oakley Carlson was born on January 27, 2016 in Washington State. From everything shared by those who knew her, she was joyful, spunky, and full of light. She loved playing dress-up and watching cartoons and dancing in the living room with her siblings. She had this deep brown hair and a sweet little grin that made your heart melt. Oakley spent most of her young life in foster care, and in 2017 she was placed with a loving foster family, Jamie Jo and Eric Hiles, who provided her with a safe, structured home full of love, laughter, and opportunity. They celebrated her milestones and they gave her stability. Jamie Jo once described Oakley as the sun in their home. But in 2019, after more than 2 years in their care, Oakley was returned to her biological parents, Jordan Bowers and Andrew Carlson, a decision made by Washington State's Department of Children, Youth, and Family, or DCYF. This decision would change Oakley's life and her loved ones forever. Shouldn't have even happened, so let's talk about it. Andrew Carlson, Oakley's biological father, had been a police officer. He was respected by some but had a troubled background, including reported issues with substance abuse. Jordan, Oakley's biological mother, was known to be unstable and allegedly involved with methamphetamine. Many reports later claimed that she was also abusive, controlling, and had a history of manipulation as well. Despite the warnings, DCYF made the decision to reunify Oakley with her biological parents, and not long after that, all contact with her completely dropped off. Family members noticed she wasn't in photos anymore. School officials grew concerned, but no one had any solid answers. In late November 2021, a fire was reported at the Carlson home in Oakville, Washington. It wasn't officially called in. It came up during a visit to the home by local deputies. The parents said that the fire had destroyed part of the house weeks earlier, but there was no record of them ever calling 911. The timeline didn't add up. But most disturbing of all, Oakley was not there. Her siblings were present, but when asked where Oakley was, the parents gave inconsistent stories. First, they claimed that she was with friends. Then they said that she had gone to live with her grandparents. And then they claimed that they had given her away. But there were no records, no custody transfers. No one had seen Oakley for months. A school principal from Oakville Elementary had grown suspicious after noticing Oakley hadn't been seen since February 10th, 2021. That's right, 9 months before anyone started asking questions. The principal, who had personally visited the home to deliver supplies, noticed Oakley wasn't there, and the other children seemed anxious when her name came up. On December 6, 2021, after law enforcement got involved, a chilling realization set in. Oakley Carlson was missing. One sibling reportedly told police that Jordan told me not to talk about Oakley. Another stated Oakley went into the woods and didn't come back. Yet another said Oakley had been locked in a dark room for punishment, and she believed that Oakley was no longer alive. And yet no charges were brought against the parents for Oakley's disappearance. Not yet, at least. Instead, they were arrested for unrelated crimes. Jordan Bowers was charged with identity theft and fraud, while Andrew Carlson was arrested for child endangerment for not giving the other children prescribed medications. They were both sentenced to short prison terms, but Oakley's case remained in limbo. How could a child go missing for months and no one noticed? How could little Oakley be returned to her parents with all the red flags? This wasn't just a family tragedy, it was a system failure. Jamie Jo and Eric Howes, Oakley's former foster parents, have become very passionate advocates for reform, as they should. They fought tirelessly to bring awareness to Oakley's case and push for changes in the foster system. Jamie Jo has spoken publicly, emotionally, about her fear that Oakley was killed. You can also support Oakley's memory by following the Light the Way Missing Persons Advocacy Project and by contacting lawmakers about child welfare reform. One voice makes a difference, and many voices bring change. This case absolutely breaks my heart. Oakley deserved love. She deserved protection, and she deserved a childhood. She also deserved a future. She still deserves justice. If you're listening today, please let Oakley's story move you, not just to feel, but to act. We can't undo what's happened, but we can fight to make sure it never happens again. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay compassionate, and stay called. Goodbye.